Greetings, family. First of all, let me give thanks to Daryl Gillian for opening this up and speaking the presence of the Spirit here into this moment. And I want to thank Reverend Gerald for his kind words of empowering me, to helping me stay focused on who I believe I am. Matter of fact, who I know that I am. Because it is when I walked into the doors of LA Third Church for Spiritual Living over 25 years ago. And Dr. Ronnie was speaking, "Have you seen the light?" And that lecture made me think about all the thoughts that I have had in my life about who and what I believed I am. Even though I had yet to accept the idea that this Spirit is in me and it works through me as me, I just knew I believed in God. So that moment, when he asked the question, it opened up my eyes in a way that I had never seen God in my own life experience. And so I always give thanks to my brother, my teacher, for enlightening me and inspiring me to trust myself in what I am hearing through my intuition. Because it is through our intuition that all of us see, feel, hear the same thing. It is no different. My stick is no bigger than your stick, but it's how we use our stick is what causes us to move the obstacles that may be in our way to the side. Matter of fact, we can knock them out. We can knock them out with the words that we have by what we believe and what it is that we see through this power that resonates in us, through us, as us. Because in the beginning, it is revealed to us that God said, or so it was written by Moses, so it was written by Moses, that God created man in his image and likeness. And he gave them dominion over. Now, it went on to speak about the various dominion that we have over the animals, over the fish. But I want us to be more focused on dominion over self. Because it is when we take control over self and we understand who we are and what we are, and that this power and the prodding that happens through this process is only guiding us to see more of ourselves. And so as we become awakened that we are an intelligent being, and we allow this intuition to assist us to accept that I have this power, and this power is working in me, through me, as me, regardless of the pain that I may feel, of the hurt, the shame that I may have experienced through a choice, which we have learned in this teaching, which is cause and effect. And those conditions is only teaching to point away a direction for us to move towards, so that we can stand in the principle of life and love ourselves and not hurt ourselves, so that we can walk upright and erect. Because the power is ours and we get to choose how we use it, when we use it, and where we use it. So then it goes on in Genesis a little later and it says, God created male and female. So there's no condition, there's no more power than male has, than female has. There's no different, there's separate operations in that we have in the way that we function, in which that we give to life. And male may have a little more muscle strength, but there are some females likewise who has the same, who tapped into that part of themselves. So there's no separation, only the separation in mind that man brings out through his own experience, from someone who appeared to dominate them or have power over them in the smallness in which they seen themselves at one present time. Because once we recognize that we have this power, then nothing can hold us back, could keep us down. Because it is with this power that we rise, that we speak to the condition and say that I rise because I am a man, because I have power, because I have dominion over all my experiences. Because this power works in me, through me, as me. Let us not forget that. Despite, dot, 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 it is ours. So it tells us to go on, be fruitful and multiply and replenish this earth and subdue it, whatever that is, whatever the experience that comes up in our life, whatever doubt we may have, whether we're playing with our relatives or as we grew up, we had experiences with our brothers and sisters, and sometimes it seems as though they were more stronger than us. They were more powerful than we were at that time, right? But it was only a recognition through how we saw ourselves. And that is in the mind. And this mind is what is our power. So in order to show the connection when we read in Finding the Christ, Ernest Holmes states, whatever is true of the universe as a whole must also be true of the individual as some part of this whole. See, and once we realize that we are evolved from the universe as a self-conscious thinking center of this living spirit, because we can take as much of it as we believe. Because it is in his nature and being that we were reproduced on this earth. See, when we look at the Bible, it is describing how life was called forth. It was the idea in which at the time people spoke to get people to see themselves in their power. So Moses said, if we look deep at who we are, because this calling that went forth from God to come into existence is calling us from the things in which existed in the earth. And this is why we can create things from the earth, and we have ideas of what it is that we want to manifest and create, because these are the things that we have discovered or we have heard from within ourselves that we feel is necessary. And when we trust in that small voice that tells us that this is necessary for this moment and this time, right here, right now, and we begin to work towards it, it will reveal itself to us, because we are using the same materials, the same essence of life that is surrounding us. We are calling forth from what we hear from within ourselves in a likeness and in an image that we can use. Oh, how I need you. We need it because we may be hurting. We need it because it may not fit into the condition that we're in right now. We may need these finances to change because our financial condition needs some support right now. So we must listen to the voice that is within, that is guiding us towards the blessing that we seek, whatever it may be. See, there is an infinite power that surrounds this universe. And this power unveils itself unto the entire world. And we decide, how much of this power that we can use. See, it is in the smallness of ourselves. You know, in psychology, you know, it's like it's our lower selves. It's that side of us that feels weak, that doesn't feel empowered, because, you know, we may have struggled, you know, through something, or we didn't quite understand. So in the ignorance of, so it is only in the ignorance of that we don't achieve the highest form that we're looking. Because once we believe and accept that this power is mine and within me and is working through me, then we can stand and we can use this power to call on it to bring our experience to greater possibilities. So as we grow to understand that this is how it works and that we are connected to it, man, and we focus our conscious attention on it, this power will deliver us into this realization that it is on us to walk through this experience and live life fulfilled with abundance constantly. See, it's constant once we can tap into it. Once we can say that I have it, I walk with it, I stand in it. See, it is only in the trust, the connection of trust and belief. This is why the Spirit says it is done unto us as we believe. And how much belief could it be other than what it is that we see? And we do that based on perception. So let us know that our perceptions is only a challenge for us to find more of ourselves. Because once we find ourselves, then we become the thing in which we will be for everyone in our lives. See, I chose to assist with the kids because there was something in me that said that if I can help someone to see when they feel that they are not empowered, that they have power, they will begin to unfold with power sooner than what I did. See, like I said earlier in the conversation, I knew that I was tough. I knew that I was bad. I knew that I was good. I knew it, but yet I struggled with showing it because there were instances that I had in my life where people did not allow my fullness to shine. So when we are not allowed to have our fullness to shine, we struggle with becoming full of the power. So then we lock down this knowledge, this wisdom that we have. You know, it was a time in my life when, as a child, you know, and our parents, my parents, was teaching me to be disciplined, to be under control. And so it was a time and when there's a moments when we should not speak, especially speak up to or at adults, regardless of it just was something that was embedded. So as I was learning and taking speech classes so that I can overcome this shyness that I felt, the teacher said, wow, once I spoke, she said, wow, but you, once you don't show your shyness or you let go of yourself, you can speak. I said, thank you. She said, so next time, what I want you to do, she says, I want you to speak to the class. I want you to just let them know what it is that you felt as you were going through these experiences, how people were not allowing you to speak, because most people in this classroom didn't experience that. Or they had had the courses that allowed them to know whom they were. And so what I learned that day was when we listen to ourselves and we speak from within ourselves, we can do anything. We have the ability and we have the power to overcome. See, and so that experience that I had in my life, it caused me to hesitate. And it caused me to doubt who I was. You know, and that's that moment sometimes where we feel like we just roll up into a ball. You know, but it is only showing that, you know, we are not trusting or standing in our faith. You know, we're not believing in that innate ability that we were born with, that we have inherited from this power. You know, and that is the only time in which we will struggle. But if we speak from authority and we stand on principle and truth, nothing can stop us. No condition will hold us back. You know, it reminds me of the song that I was listening to by Jonathan McReynolds, one of the songs. And he says, you know, that I'm going to keep on walking with my limp. You know, I'm going to keep on, you know, even though, you know, I'm not standing erect, I'm not standing straight up, and, you know, I'm in pain and I'm hurting, but I'm going to limp through this until I can stand on the power that I really have. I'm going to keep speaking to my troubles, to my worries, to my disconnect from God. And so I'm just going to limp. You know, and so Jesus said, we must believe as the Father have life in himself, so have we been given to the Son. It has been given to the Son to have life within himself. This power that is continually unveiling itself, it does not recognize our personality. It doesn't recognize that, but what it does recognize is how we walk into it, how we use it. When we say, I am one with this power, and I have this power in me, working through me as the energy and essence of my life, and I direct it to my body where it ails me, and it renews and restores all conditions, all these ailments, every circumstance, and that I know that it is for my highest good. That's empowerment. It cannot help but do it, because that is the condition in which we're speaking with, using our faith and belief to be it. So, you know, at one time, you know, when our nomadic brothers was walking through the desert, you know, they came to this point where, you know, they got a little hungry, they got a little weary, just like we all do in our lives, you know. And so in this journey, you know, they started to doubt Moses. And they was like, man, Moses brought us out here to die. What is he doing? Why are we out here? We was doing better back there in Egypt with all that we had. We had everything we needed. So Moses stopped the journey, he paused. And Moses went to Aaron and to the soldiers and the sergeants. And he said, I'm going to go away and I'm going to go and sit with myself. And so Moses removed himself from the talk, the whispers, the doubt, the frustration, the disappointments, and went higher up, separated himself, and said that and called on God to show him the path, the way that will lead them to the promised land. See, so whenever a condition come up, these are examples that has always been shown to us that we must separate ourselves from the fear, the destructions that we are perceiving, which is only the race suggestions because it happened at one point in time, that it has conditioned us to believe, to accept. And so we have faith, we have doubt in our own abilities to stand in the power. But we already know that once we stand, we can. As a child, when we wanted to walk, we ran, we failed, we got up, we continued, and then began slowly. We began to walk and to run without falling. It is only an example of what is to come when we fully take on this power, this life, this energy, this essence that is ours. See, because we learn from this pain, we learn from the hurt, we learn from this confusion, and we must look deep into it, because all it is prodding and pushing us to a realization that we are free spiritual beings. And this effect should bring us the awareness that we are discovering our true power. True power. Once we can connect with it, once we can call on it, once we can be still, once we can sit in it, once we can accept it, once we believe it. So Charles Fillmore states in the book, he says that man appears unlike God because he, through disobedience, fell in sin. So he made a mistake. And through accepting the race suggestion, man has accepted wrong ideas about himself and his relation to his source. He has believed that he is unlike God and separate from him, and these concepts have, by the law of thought, become manifest. So we begin to experience these because we're focusing more on what it is that we don't have, what we have not become, what we are lacking, what we did not achieve, where we have made a mistake, where we have misstepped. See, when we miss the mark, it appears as though we are weak and unable to overcome our challenges or distractions. This weakens, our belief, and it's like kryptonite, right? It's that thing that it'll hold us back because we'll start focusing on it more. And then as long as we keep it around us, we're gonna feel weak. But to the mind that accepts this truth, oh my goodness, the strength that he has, the power that he will show, the conditions that he will change. So this is what Ernest Holmes refers to when he says that man may have many experiences of bondage and as his reality, but there's a reality to which bondage is not real. Let me say that again. Man may experience bondage as a reality, but there is a reality to which bondage is not real. So basically what that's saying is, so once we realize and accept that we have the power, we will change the condition, and that will empower us and show us what we have and who we truly are. See, and when this happens to us, we must really realize that even though we're walking through this valley of shadows of death, see, it's only an appearance of, it's not real, because if it was real, we couldn't change it. We can only change those things that are not real. See, it's false evidence appearing real. It's something that we believed on because of an experience that we had. But when we say to ourselves, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff. And at the time in which this was written, all it's saying is that the power they had was a stick, because as he was walking in the wilderness, he had to keep the wolves off the sheep and the goats in his herd. They needed something, and when they got tired, they just stood still and just leaned on the stick. Lean on that power. Lean on that strength. Lean on that idea that God is right here with me, waiting on me to call it forth. So Jesus comes along and Jesus says, fear not, little flock. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And once we find this kingdom, we can stand in its power. Finding the Christ, chapter 22. Ernest Holmes proposes a question. Who is Christ? He says the Son begotten of the only Father, not the only begotten Son of God. The mystical conception of Christ means the universality of sonship embodied in any individual who recognize this sonship. Whoever accepts that God is in him, working in him, through him, as him, shall receive, shall be. Man, thou art the Son. Man, thou art the Son. Live this life. Stand in the truth that we are built in, of, from. Jesus says, follow me. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I have given you examples. I have lived a life speaking into the conditions of people, of blind men, lame men. I have spoke dead men into life. I've shown the path of how to overcome challenges and obstacles in your life. That's why it's saying, follow me. And believe me, that there is not a moment, there is not a point, there is not a time where God will not, God has not prevailed and brought us through any condition. So we must look at ourselves and realize that there's no more waiting on things on the outside. It is just to accept that I have the power within me to change any and every circumstance that is unlike the one that I currently may see. And that as I empower myself to understand and appreciate this power working in me, that I will be quickened into the spiritual life and realize that my true character is God in me, providing me, prevails me in my life. And as I hold on to it, I am empowered to overcome. His character is our character. In John 8:58, Jesus said, before Abraham was born, I am. Before time was, before we could speak, before it was written, before it was shown to us by our brothers and teachers, I am. I called life into existence. And if I call life into existence, I must be a part of the life that exists. So if we want to stop going in cycles of misfortune, we must realize that we're only repeating them, the mistakes, because we don't believe that we have the power to overcome them. So I say, brothers and sisters, this day forward, lean onto the everlasting arms of God. Go with the hope that you believe within yourselves. And as we do this, we will become alive and awakened, and we can rejoice in our lives and be free at last. So walk with me, grow with me, lean on me, and let me lean on you until I stand. And may we all stand together, and may love prevail from this day forward. Peace and blessings to you.